So I want to state this out there, right? I believe
Hello?
each and every one of us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Can Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes.
I want to state this out
Yes,
there.
yes.
I usually would get, and I think people are used to the idea, and everybody is used to the idea of, maybe because of where they come from, they think it is okay to share, communicate. And mutually, I'm not talking to you now because you've not communicated this to me. They think it is okay to communicate um during or after a deadline that they are not able to make it due to to one reason or the other. Personally, I find it extremely disrespectful for you to do that. Somebody will come, they are not feeling fine. Another person will come, their father is not feeling fine. They didn't just not feel. No, Murtala, I'm not referring to you now.
No, I
I've been
really
getting a lot
get
of
what you're
messages.
saying. I
I've
know.
been getting a lot of messages. Somebody sent me a message on Thursday that the assignment is due. I'm not feeling fine. I'll say, okay, Thor, may God give you good health. But your this thing is not acceptable because you could have easily told me before now. You did not. Let's assume that you are not feeling fine on the day of the deadline. It means that you did not take it out of your time to do it before you are not feeling fine. Because again, you had like about four, 5 days to do that. So I think some people think it's actually okay to pass message when the deadline is up. And I remember mentioning this in the beginning of the internship that don't do that. And again, if you've ever had any experience with me talking to me with deadline, I will sympathize with your situation, but I don't accept that excuse. It's I don't think it is okay. But apparently, people of this time are used to that, and it is, for me personally, it's very unacceptable. I cannot. I mean, I'm really not begging anybody to be here. Frankly, I am. I can. I have said this before. Might sound very harsh, but I think I've said this before. I can do without people being here. Again, it's. I'm not saying that I don't have an ulterior motive of people not being here, but I really can do without it. You know. So I think, because I usually would ask each and every one of us, how has this internship benefited you? Because I really want to know if it has actually impacted you or not. You can see we don't do a lot of social media campaign, vote for me by doing this, or vote for somebody, you get this gift. I don't sell all of those things here. We don't do that. The reason is because we actually want people to get the cream of this data analytics. You understand what I'm saying? Since the time we started, you have not been requested to pay for anything. You've not been asked to do anything that is out of the ordinary other than to showcase your skills on your LinkedIn page and whatnot. You understand? So again, I don't think anybody is really doing me any favor, frankly. So I think there's need to actually state that out here. And Muchala, like I said, I'm not referring to you. I just feel it is you just mentioned it, and even if you had met me yesterday or day, you couldn't meet it due to something. I will tell you, I will sympathize with you, but I definitely will not take that as an excuse. So please, we should try as much as possible to meet up. This thing is for our own benefit, frankly, and it will really help you guys a lot. And it's not for, mind you, I am not being paid for what I'm doing. Oh. Do you understand what I'm saying? I am really not being paid for what I'm doing. I and I will tell you that I actually spend a lot of my time and my resources trying to do this. So after I'm done with this video, I would have to upload this video to the YouTube channel for data, share it to you guys, manage the channel and things like that. And I don't think anybody is paying me for this, frankly. And I really do not know what to expect after this, really. I shall know that I've done some things for some people, and with the hope that people have benefited from it. If you have anything to say, you are allowed to say it. Don't tell me thank you. I've told you several times this. I don't need your thanks. If I don't really want to do this, I don't think I will do it, even if you are going to pay me to. So, anyways, I feel I needed to state that out there again. The reason why I'm saying reason why I did that particular video was I don't want to repeat myself today again. We are going to actually move on to hopefully an introduction to data analytics using Python. Before then,
Hello, sir.
Yes. Introduce yourself. Who
Sorry
are you?
Okay, you are still speak on to Murtala Abdulaziz, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, how are you?
Yes, honestly, we really appreciate your efforts. I didn't really want to bother you with my own complaint. That was why I'm working on the assignment, so that when I'm done, I will just send it. Then I will tell you some reason why I didn't submit it on time. I'm just mentioning it here because you asked of what we have done so far, sir. Sorry for bothering you.
No problem. I just felt I needed to say that out there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So, good day, everyone. Any other statement, question, response before we continue? Mercy Ode, Yusuf Musa, how are you? How's your dad? Elizabeth, how are you? How is work? How's project management? We have Uchechi, Abdullahi, Adam Abdullahi, Joshua Agba, and Bashanallah. You don't like talking very well. Yes. How are you guys? Can you guys hear me? Am I talking to myself?
We can hear you, sir.
Who is the baby in the background? Okay. Is somebody raising up their hands?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, talk, please.
Yes, what we are doing here I'm trying on this Jupyter notebook, I'm trying to do it same thing on VS Code, but it's giving me some issue like VS Code, Visual Studio Code. At times it will be complaining that I should download the extension or stuff like that when I'm trying to run.
Let me show you what to do.
Okay.
Please let me show you what to do. So first of all, you go to this your VS Code, right? Let me see. I'm going to open this folder in VS Code. I think I did mention regarding using your VS Code. For data analytics, preferably use Anaconda for data analytics, preferably. Does that make sense? Use use Anaconda. I wouldn't advise you to use VS Code, but let this open and let me see. What am I missing? Okay. What's happening to my VS Code? That's interesting. This is me. But you can run it on VS Code, but I won't advise it that you run it on VS Code. It's I don't advise it, but you can if you want to.
Okay.
I think it's because I'm actually using it. That's why maybe it is not showing. But let me see. Okay. This is interesting. You guys should just hold on. Let me restart my PC. Okay, so I'm trying to restart my PC. So just give me a moment. So who wants to talk about the assignment before my P6 comes up? Other than those that have spoken before.
Please, I want to ask a question. Hello, sir.
Ask your question, I can hear you.
Okay, sir, can we also use Sublime Text to run the code too? Or is it also only VS Code that is good to do it? Hello, sir.
Oh, apologies. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I made mention that you can use any text editor.
Okay,
Actually, yeah, so you can use any text editor regardless. So
sir.
I don't know if I have Jupyter extension, but I'm going to check. You can use Sublime, you can use PyCharm, you can use any of the text editors. Fine. You're not going to be blameworthy for it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Let me see. I think I have okay. I think oh, this is just the okay. I think let me see this. So I already have this. Let me see VS Code for this. Oh no, this is for review. So what can this do? Oh, this can only show me issues. Oh, sorry. I am on my PC. I'm trying to. Sorry, hold on. Application is behaving, which can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, you can see.
Okay, good. So this one is for mistake. Let's see. How do we use this? Install this and okay, install. Oh, okay, then since this is not working, the dividend corner. Okay, cool. So I think I've already installed the Jupyter extension.
So I'm going.
Uchechi, your background is noisy.
So I'm grasping to see your screen because it's dark mode.
Ah, Uchi, I'm not going to change my team because of you. I'm not going to change my team because of you, Chichi.
Sir, your font is small.
No problem. I'm going to increase the font, but I'm not going to change my thing because you can't see it. I'm going to increase my font anyways. That's not the problem. Okay. I'm going to increase the font. Can you see it now?
Yes, it is better.
But I will not change my theme because of you. So you can actually run with VS Code. You just have to install the right kernel on it. Oh, it's actually loading. Interesting. But I don't prefer to use VS Code in this case. I really don't like it, especially for data analytics. I prefer to run Anaconda's Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook. But I prefer, if you're asking me for my preference, I prefer Jupyter Lab. If you ask me, because it's more interactive and it has more, it's more user friendly. That's for me. Joshua, what do you want to say?
Okay, so it's just a question. When I was
So it has
doing the
started
assignment,
running. Okay, I'm listening.
okay, when I was doing the assignment, after I finished, like I opened the file, like I was reading the file in the assignment. Then I tried to open the same file, like some of the CVs in my file location. I was not able to do that. It was telling me that I can't open it because it's opened in Python. So I tried running the f.close, but even after I've done that, it still wasn't able to open. So I don't know what could be the reason. So
I really don't know what could be the reason unless if I see it. Why are you the one that sent a screenshot of you trying to enter a URL, a path, and it was giving you error? Why are you the one that sent a screenshot?
no, I was not the one.
Okay, then I don't know what your problem is unless I see it.
I was the one, sir.
Justice.
Yes, sir. I
Because
was the
you
one that.
were able to solve your problem.
Yes, I have
Okay,
to
good.
remove the quotation mark for me.
Oh,
But
and you know
I
it's
was
going to take it as text already. Your input will take it as a text already. Do you understand?
yes, sir.
So it's not really important for you to put a quotation mark again. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So anyways, any other questions? John Emeka, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
What's happening?
Everywhere is fine this morning, sir.
Thank God.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. Hi, sir.
My side is cold. The weather is confusing.
Is that right, sir?
So I am going to so introduction to data analytics. So we're going to start analytics proper. So basically, remember when we did the file handling? So you can now understand how Python can actually handle files. So how then can it handle data set? So Python has like inbuilt libraries. It has a library called CSV. So it can actually handle CSV by saying import CSV. It's a built-in library inside Python. And I can then see with, I will say open. So what this the um width function or the width method does is, rather than saying f is equal to open, then you enter your path and you enter the mode to which you want to access your, please mute your divine, mute your so rather than having to do this, then you will now say print f dot read, and read is a method. Then you now say f dot close, because I mentioned that you always, anytime you open a file, you have to always close it. So what another method to do is to use the with method, and you see open. Then you put your file path, then how you want to read your file. Then if you want for like CSV, you can put an encoding, and this encoding is what UTF-8. Then you will now say as, you now give it an alias, so as maybe file, then you will now call what you actually want to do with that particular file. So you can then say file.read, then you can then say print file. So in this case, we are going to use our path called where's our file? Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you can hear me, confirm if you can see my screen.
Very well, sir. We can see your screen.
That I want to say. At the moment to which you cannot hear me, please draw my attention that you cannot hear me. You can see my screen. So I can then say, let's say read mode. I don't need to put an encoding. It's not necessary. File.read. I can then say print file. I can say print file.read, and I'm good. Then I can run it, and it's going to print it. So I really don't need to say f is equal to, set a variable equal to open the path, then the mode, print this, then close, because like I said, you always have to close it every time you open it. So if you open it, you always have to close it at the end of the day. And so the width
Hello.
is
Sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt, please. I can't see your screen.
method to actually use to open your file. And once you are done, you can close it. So in this case, if you want to read a CSV, there is what they call a reader, or there is a dict reader, basically. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir, but point, your voice is cracking.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I can hear you,
I
but
said
the voice
your
is
point,
cracking.
your voice is cracking. I can't hear again. No, it's only me.
Same here. Me, I
I'm not
can't
I
see
can
us.
hear too.
We can't
I
hear.
think it's
We
the
can't
network
hear.
problem.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, you can hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you from here. But the problem, I can't see your screen since from the beginning.
I think he's not sharing the screen now.
Not sharing my screen now, but if I see it from beginning, it means that but I'll be sharing my screenshot. Network today is relative. Oh. Yikes, you guys are in problem today. My network is relatively poor.
Sorry, it's like a general problem these days.
It's interesting.
I can't hear.
Can you guys hear me? I'm back.
Okay, yes, sir.
Can somebody else respond to that effect?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you too from here.
Apparently, MTN is crazy. Network is crazy. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Can see your screen.
Okay, good. So as I was mentioning, the CSV has some method, built-in method of functions in that library, like reader and dictionary. Um, wow. And let me see.
I don't know if it's my network, but it's lagging. Like,
What is inside? I'm curious. I don't see anything here. Is it lagging? Can anybody hear me clearly, or it's lagging? Please, somebody should talk. Somebody else is other than Jennifer.
Yes, we can hear you.
The problem, I can hear you, but
Yeah,
I
and is it
cannot see
lagging?
clearly what you are writing.
I've not started writing anything yet. Justice, can you hear me clearly? Is it lagging? Man, Joshua
Yes,
Agba, can
yes,
you
now
hear
it
me
is
clearly?
clear.
Is it lagging?
Yeah,
Your voice is
Yes,
clear
I can hear you
it's
loud
clear.
and clear.
It's clear now, sir. It's
It's
clear,
clear
very
now.
clear.
now.
it's clear now.
Okay. Sorry, you guys will have to deal with my crappy network today. So I think I'm going to create a I'm going to create a data set. So let me do this. I'll create okay, so you guys can unmute, can mute now. I can hear you guys. So let's say, for instance, I have this data set called Abdullahi.cv. I don't exactly know what I did here. I think it was when we were trying to create uh, file handling, when we were trying to deal with file handling. That was when we did this. So for instance, let's say I want to read this file, for instance, Abdullahi.csv. I'm going to say, I've already imported CSV, right? I'll just say with, I would say my I'll look for the CV. How do I want to handle this file? I just want to read. I will now say as F, for instance. I can then say read is equal to CSV dot reader. So I have the reader, then add my F up there. I'll now say read. Okay. So this is CSV object. I think I can actually use I think is is it dot read? Sorry, hold on. Okay, has the attribute called read. Yeah, I'm not sure this is correct, but for some reason I think he's reading it correctly. So it's object, and I think this is the it's correct. Let me check. CSV dot read. Hold on, please. Just trying to. Oh, I forgot. Google doesn't work on Google on Airtel network for some reason. You can't do any Google search on Airtel network. I don't know if you guys are having the same problem. So excuse me. Oh, it is working. It's just gonna take time. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
But please, have you written something because I
Thank you.
cannot see anything up to now.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, very clearly.
Sir, but you're not writing
Then
anything yet.
No, I'm not doing anything now. I'm just trying to search for something. I don't use this particular this thing often. So excuse me. Oh, so many apologies. I'm supposed to look. I'm supposed to look through this, and I'll say for I read. Excuse me. Then I'll say print I. Basically, that's what I'm supposed to do. Oh, sorry, it's going to be wrong. I'll say print I. Why is it? Why am I writing this? So I basically I'm not going to get anything because I don't have anything here. So I can then go to my file and populate it. So let me just locate where this file is, and I'm going to populate it with something. I think I have something already, but excuse yep. Okay, so I have a file already. Let me see. I'm trying to open it. I have some data. Let me go to this, and I'm going to populate it. So if I open, I don't have anything there, so I'm just going to populate it and save. Now, if I go back to my code that I wrote, you can then see that I have something there. So basically, this is how you actually handle files. And let's say I just want the head. I'll just say header. I think is equal to read.header. I think it's dot header. Yeah, so dot header. Then say something like print, I think header. Then I would then say I dot values, I think. Only. Okay, I think it doesn't have sure. Let me check. Sorry, please. I think oh, sorry. Oh, it said doesn't have any attribute called header. I think it's csv.head. I cannot remember. Sorry, please. Sorry. Throat is not being nice to me today. how do you get header from CSV dot reader? Oh, okay. So I think, oh yeah, I understand this. The reason is because this particular function called reader does not have an attribute called header. But if I do, let's say, if I'm going to repeat the same process again, apologies. I think I know the reason why. Let's just say I would say this is as G, and I'll now put G here, and I'll now say I think it's dict reader. Yeah, and I do this. I think it should. Well, that is interesting. Then I think I'm having. Is it header or headers? I can't remember. Okay, then I think it is headers. Why am I getting this wrong? Oh, that's interesting. Network today is really shitty. Seriously. Forgot it. Who's going to help me out? Are you hearing me? I think it's really crappy. Like really, really crappy. Oh. Nope. Let's see. Oh, this is not really. Are you guys still there? Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mm. Anyways, I think I would forget about this for now. I really don't know why it is not showing. Oh God, please help me. I'm trying to understand. Oh, I have to repeat this thing again. I think I have to. You know, so the one thing with Anaconda is you have to always. Sometimes if you are running your code and it doesn't work, you just restart kernel and just run it. So in the event you are trying to run something, it's not working, it's giving you some kind of error. Excuse me. I tell you the reader doesn't have, but oh okay, yeah. Sorry, please. Apologies. Oh yeah, so basically, oh, then it has it's just weird. I think not. It's weird. I think this does, but I really don't know. Let me see. I must have done it somewhere yesterday or thereabout. No, not this. This is 8 years assignment. I think I did it somewhere. No, not this. Save. Let me try the other one. Not this. I implemented it somewhere. I cannot remember. And this was just yesterday. Oh, this is something else. I cannot really tell where I implemented it, but I know I implemented it somewhere. But what I'm just trying to show here that it's actually difficult using the inbuilt libraries from Python to actually access your file, basically. So if you want to use the reader or the dict reader, you get something like this, and basically for the dict reader you get something like this dot value. So if I just do just print I alone, this is basically what you get. So you basically get um, um, a uh, a dictionary of, you have your name, you have drug collected, and so on and so forth. And sometimes you really do not want to, you want to be able to see your file just like the way you see um, your files in Excel and maybe SQL, like a table form. So which is why the library, which is an external library called Pandas, is it's really very notorious in the field of data science or data analytics. So Pandas is a very notorious library that helps to convert your file into like what they call a data frame, or uh, um, yeah, a data frame or a table. So one of the good things with Pandas is inbuilt libraries for converting numbers into um, numeric Python. It does numeric Python. You can actually do a lot of visualization using Anaconda. That's because in Anaconda, Anaconda, like pip, is a package manager for installing packages or libraries, and so it does have, it's like it comes built in with Pandas and other libraries. So which is why I was telling you, when you want to do analytics, whether data analytics or data science, I would prefer for you to use Anaconda. That's because if I'm, for instance, I want to use Visual Studio Code, I'll have to go and um, either use the Anaconda virtual environment, or I would create a virtual environment, use pip to start installing Pandas and NumPy, as well as Matplotlib for visualization. So basically, Pandas is a notorious library for actually viewing your data and doing a lot of analytics on your data. So because, like I said, I already have it installed, I'll just say import Pandas and I'll run it. Now, if I want to read my CSV file, for instance, um, I can say pandas dot, I will now say CSV. Oh, sorry, pandas dot read, I would say CSV, and I will now put the file path for my CSV. So if I say dot this, I already have Abdullahi.csv, and I am going to run it. And then instead of me to see my file like this, you can see it in a tabular form. So usually, if you're actually reading your file, you have to set whatever this is to what they call a variable. You can use any variable, but mostly you see them use df. The reason why they use df is data frame. It's a short form for data frame. It's quite notorious, and you can then do call um, your data frame, and you then see it. So this looks more like a tabular format compared to this, and so Pandas is notorious for it. And you can actually give an alias. So if you are doing an import, you can give whatever library you are giving, you are importing an alias. So you can say as, it's notorious for using PD for as an alias for for Pandas. Now, once you've given a library an alias, you cannot call that library again. You only have to call it by its alias. So if I run this code, it's going to show me an error, and that's because I think I'm going to restart kernel and run all cells. It's going to show me an error, and that's because I've already given my library an alias, so I can no more use the name again. So I think, yeah, so it's going to show me an error, and that's because it's telling me it's not defined, and that's because I've given it another name. So if I say p.csv, I can then call my CSV, and I'm going to see this. And with these, you can actually, sorry, excuse me. So let's say I only want to get the name alone, just my name. You can actually say you put a square bracket, just like the way you call in lists. So, and I can either do the name. I'll just enter name, and it's going to show me just the name of my data set, the name column of my data set. Now, if you look at the type for this is a Pandas series. So if I check the type for this, it's called a Pandas series. But if I say df and I put double square bracket and I put type you see the data frame. So it's a data frame. So sorry, excuse me. This is it does the same thing. It calls out the information you actually want, but differently. I want you guys to be able to know that forehand. So if you say df and you just call the name of the column you actually want to access with a single square bracket, it's going to give you a series, but it will include the information. But if you put a double square bracket and you call it, it's going to give you a data frame, just like what you have here. Sorry. Just like what you have here. Right. So you can also use how you access your list. So I can say df, and if I put 1 here, what is it going to give me? Interesting, an error. Oh, so it's going to give me indexing is not allowed. Oh, yikes. Let me see. What of now? Oh, so it's saying that, sorry, please hold on. So I think I'm going to say if I remember. Yikes. So I think I cannot access it like this, but let me see. Interesting. Anywho, so let's say I want to only access just let's say the first two rows. So I just want to see the first two rows of my data set. So I can say df and I'll use a particular function called head. And this head normally will give you the first 5 rows of data. So by the time I look at my data set, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. But by the time I say df.head, it will give me the first 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I say df dot head, I put a value inside. I can say give me the first 6 rows, and it will give me everything. So the same thing, if I say give me the first one row, it's going to give me this. Now, basically, I can then say if I just want the first two rows of my name, I will just say dot head and I'll just say 2, and it's going to give me the first two rows of my of my data set. Now let's say I want I don't want the first two rows, I want sorry, excuse me, I want rows 3 and 4. I can then use what they call look and index look for it. What this does is, so I have my data frame, right? And I want to get, so what this does is where each of these particular value is both horizontal and vertical. So we have our horizontal, which is 0, 1, 2, and we have our vertical, which is name, collected drugs, age, and drugs, right? So it uses position where each of these value is in this particular data frame.
Good.
If your mic is on, please mute it. And so basically, if I want to use this particular positional location to actually get certain values, I'll say dot look. Now, what it does is it's going to call it by row and by column. So it does rows from a column. Basically, that's how it does call. You use it to actually access this data in this particular data frame. So you call the row then the column. So let's say I said I wanted to get this data frame, the third and the fourth value only, right? So I'm going to say df, which is my data frame dot look, and I would say my role, I want the third to the fourth, right? Then comma everything.
I'm not hearing.
Can you guys hear me now? What of now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you from here.
We can hear you, sir.
At what point in time did you stop hearing me?
What writing the last code?
Oh, okay. So I said that if you want to use this function or this method, the look and the I look, then you enter the row number and number, right? So basically, what I want is I want to get the third and the fourth row, which is index 2 and index 3. So I'm going to say so I would say my role now, what do I want to get from index 2 to index 3, then comma the column, which is, if I put this what's this, what's the name of this in English?
Column.
Yeah, if I put this column, it means that it should bring all the columns in that particular data frame. So it's more or less like me saying that so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll say 0 to 4. What did it say? What have I said? You cannot do slicing. I don't know what that means. I think I have to put a, if I'm not mistaken, either this or I will do this. Sorry, hold on. Oh, so I think, how does this work again? Okay, so networks. Today's network is just weird, man. And MTN will keep sending you different kinds of rubbish. Time they decided to increase tariff, network has just it's just weird. Oh, interesting. So, apologies. I think um, if I want to, I
Hello?
can
I'm not hearing
go
Hello?
for column wise. I think
Your voice is cracking. We can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah.
The line is cracking, sir.
If you sorry.
Hello, sir.
I have not been hearing
Can
you
you hear
well,
me
sir.
now?
Hello, sir.
What up now? Can you hear me?
Yes, but when you start speaking, your voice will start cracking.
What up now? Can you guys hear me? I had to go out and come back. Hello.
Yes, sir.
It's no more cracking.
I feel it's a general problem. It will crack and come back. It will crack
Yes.
and come back. So let's just continue. It resets itself with time. So I think it's the network.
This network problem is crazy. It's really crazy. But you guys can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, excuse me. And so what this is going to do is just going to give me the location of the row. Then this is going to give me the column. But if I want to actually just say, I want to just call, let's say, column name, column name and age, for instance, I have to specify it by putting the name of the column. So I'm going to say, let's say name, if I just want name alone, and if I want name and age, so I'm just going to put it in a list basically and say comma age, I think. Then it's going to give me sorry, it's going to give me the row number that I want and the column name. Now, as for the iLook actually does what they call indexing. Basically, if I say df dot iLook, I can use the same thing. I would say
Sorry, sir, but you can't see your screen.
oh, sorry, I
Are you
stopped sharing
sharing
it.
your screen?
No, I stopped sharing it. I went out and came back, so I thought I was still sharing my screen. What up now? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, yes, you can see this.
Yeah, it's showing now.
Yes,
Oh,
we can
okay.
see it.
So the difference between the location and the index location is I actually can use index to actually sorry, excuse me, to actually indexing like the way you do in uh what's the name, in Python list to actually access my data. So basically what I can then see is if I want to access the same thing, I'll say give me I think it is 2 to 3, 2 to 4, then comma everything. So it's going to give me index 2, 3, and it's going to leave out 4. And before, if I want to do to 2, 2, 4, it's going to give me everything, including the fourth index. But since it's Python indexing, it's going to start 0, 1, 2, 3. If I say 4, it's going to exclude the fourth index, basically. So I would say 2 to 4 if I want to access the third item and this. And let's say I want to do let's say I want to do name and age. So we have, I think this is 0, 1, 2. So I'm just going to say, if I say 0, it's going to just give me the name. If I want to say the first and the third item, it's 0 and 2, and it's going to give me name and age. So if I say I think if I say 0 to 2, it's going to give me everything except the third item. Or if I say 0 to 3, it's going to give me everything except the fourth item. So if I say 0 to 4, everything except so it is 0, 1, 2, 3, the fourth item. So if I say 0 to 3 to give me 0, 1, 2, like that, the way you do a Python list basically. So let's say I want just yikes. So if I say, let's say I want only the last item, I can say then with all the columns. So I can say df dot head. I can either say df dot tail, sorry, and I'll say give me the two last item, and it's going to give me this. Now, in order for me to do that in using the location or I location, I'm going to say for the location it will be df dot look, and I'm going to say give me, I think 5 to 6, then all the columns. Oh, sorry. Okay, what did I do wrong? Oh, sorry, I'm using normal bracket instead of square bracket. Sorry, please. Oh, it's not even giving me the last item. Let me see. Oh, it doesn't have the 6th item, so I think it's 4 to 5. Then now same thing if I want to do, or I can say everything. Yeah, basically that is it. Or I can say I think it's -1 to -2. If I use negative, I think it's gonna work. Oh, it's gonna be anything. What if I say -1? Is it going to work? Well, basically, it's not going to give me that. Okay, so at least now I know. So I would say give me the 4th to the 5th item, and it's going to give me the last 2 item. The problem with using this particular indexing, calling out this particular method is that you have to know the rows that you actually want to call out, right? Like when I say df.tail, give me the last 2, so it's going to just pick it up for me for some weird reason. If I want to use the index location, it to be iLoc, and I think I can say from everything. I don't know if this is going to work too. Oh, it is going to work. So everything after 4, and it's going to give me the last 2 items. Because everything after 4 is just 4 and 5, so it's just 5. So basically, the way you treat a Python list is the same thing. The way you treat this the same thing you the same way you treat the location and the index location in pandas. What else? What do I want to do? Let's say I want to do a I want to do a count of the number of names, for instance. The number of names. I can say or let's say I want to know the number of rows and columns in my data frame. I can say df.shape, and also df.shape, and it's going to tell me this is the number of rows and this is columns. So basically, row come before column. So it has 6 rows and 4 columns, basically. And let's say if I want to say, I want to check for each of these particular column, the data types associated with it. And I think it is what df dot, who can, I think it's describe, no, not describe. What's the name again? I think it's df dot type, or sorry, I've forgotten. It's been a while. I actually worked on this stuff. Yeah, so I think it's df dot d types, I think. So I think if I call it as a method, okay, so it's not callable as a method. Interesting. So it's going to give me it's going to give me the different data types. So the name is an object. Basically, it refers to this as an object, anything that is a string. The collection drugs, it's referred to as an integer, and the H2 is also an integer, and the drug is an object. So anything you see, the data type is called object. It's basically telling you, even though it's a number and it's telling object, it's basically telling you that it is actually a string. As you can see here, it's basically telling you that it's actually a string. So in the event you see in the event you actually see a particular column that has numbers, but you are seeing object, what it means is that you have to actually change the data type to its appropriate data type. Does that make sense? The same thing with date time. The same thing with if I have something that has a date, for instance, let's say in my text I have going to add date, and I'm going to add this date here. What's the best way to even add date? I think is I think it's second. What's this date? 15th, right? 2024. Can you guys hear me? I hope my voice is not cracking.
It's not cracking.
Yeah, you're audible, sir.
So I'll put 13, 12, 11, 10, for instance, and I'm going to save it. Let me try and admit some people. Some people are trying to join. Hold on. Okay, so I have saved it, and I'm just going to the kernel and run it again. Let's see what is going to happen. Let's wait. Hopefully it doesn't give us some kind of error. Oh, it is really interesting. So you can see I've added like a date here. Yeah. So now you can see that we have a date, but it's telling me that this thing is an object, which is a string, and that is a problem. You understand? Now, if I want to convert this particular data type to date time or date, what I can do is I am going to call out the date column alone, which is this. So it's telling me that the data type is object, and I'm going to say df, the name of the column is equal to the same df. I can say dot date. It's actually going to say dot date. I'll now say dot pd. No, sorry, apologies. I would say pd dot to date time, and I'll call the name of my column that I want to change to the proper format, which is dot date. And if I run it and I now say df dot date, you can see my data type is now what date time. And once I say df dot d types, I can then see that my date is now in the correct format. Do you understand? Let's say let me see. Let me add another column called amount, for instance. I'm going to add an amount column. I would say, let's say this is 2,000 naira. Let's say this is 3,000 naira. That's the PCM. Let's say, oh God, I'm not taking my drugs. Wow, interesting. Let's say this is 1,500. Let's say this is 1,000 and this is 900. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back to my, I would restart and run all cells. No wonder I'm feeling sick. I'm supposed to, I'm on drugs. For those people that are saying that they are not feeling fine, well, me and you guys are in the same boat.
Sorry, sir. Just hold on and take your drugs.
No problem. I'll take it. So, you guys can see that our amount here, when we put the D type, we can see that the amount, what data type who can remember? John Emeka, are you there? MTN is doing us dirty, Jennifer. MTN is really maltreating us today. John Emeka, are you there? Can you hear me? John Emeka is silent today. Who can remember? Elizabeth, Bishop Tuku, Divine. We have Rahila too, Saliu, Surah, Yusuf, Musa. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, so you can hear me. You can hear me and you are pretending as if you didn't hear the question I asked. I said,
I'm back.
okay. I said amount, anything that has to do with money, it's supposed to using integer for amount is actually wrong. It's not the proper data type for amount. Money. What is the proper data type for money? Who can tell me?
I think floats.
So the proper data type for money is supposed to be decimal or float. So now I'm having integer when I check the data type. I want to change this amount to float. I would say df dot amount. You can either use square bracket and call amount, or you can say dot. Either one is fine.
I don't know
so if I say df,
MTN still doing me dirty, but I can't see your screen. Are you still sharing? I don't hear him today.
Please, can anybody see my screen other than Jennifer?
Yes, I can see it.
I can see your screen.
Jennifer,
Yes, just that your voice is cracking on my end.
Can anybody hear me? Is my voice cracking?
It's not cracking now.
MTN and Airtel is doing everybody dirty today. Sorry, man. So you can either use df square bracket, then call the name of the column, or you just say dot amount basically, and is equal to, I would say I'll still call the name of the column. I would say amount, then I'll say dot as type, then I'll now name the name of the type. Basically, I want it to be float. Now, if I now say df.d types, you can then see that my amount has been converted into a float data type. You understand? So for date time, you say pd dot to pd dot to underscore date time. For float and integer, you can then use you can use as type, and it's going to convert it from float to integer, from integer to float. So let's say I don't want my amount to be float again. I want it to be integer. Let's say me and you have argued too much, and would say I don't want it to be that. I can just do this, and I'll say dot as type. I'll say integer. And if I say df dot d types, that's to check my data types, and you see it. Oh, I'm supposed to change it to 64. I don't see that 32, but curious. So to change it to 64. Again, if you want, you can leave it like that. That's not the problem. But since this other collection drugs is 64, I would rather put it at 64. What else? Okay, so I want to add a new column. So if I call my data frame now, if I call my data frame and I want to multiply the number of drugs collected, right? Like the amount. I want to actually create a new column. So let's just see. I can then say df, then I'll just call the name of my new column. I'll say total spent, something like that. I'll then say is equal to df dot collection drugs multiplied by df dot amount. And when I call df now, I will then see my total spent, basically. Now the reason why didn't change is because this is 1. Of course, you can see that 3000 multiplied by 0 is 3000 and things like that. So if I now say my df.d types, I can then see that my amount spent is what? Is it has its own data type, which is what? An integer. Now let me come back to here and just say float. I think I'll just remove this float guy. I'm going to run it again. Now, mind you, anything you do here is not really affecting the data set itself, just so you know. It doesn't really affect the data set itself, and that's because this is more like a pseudo. You are trying to do something elsewhere. Now you can see by the time I converted this to float, you can see the dot sign. And by the time I do a multiplication of float by integer, it gives me a float, because float always win at the end of the day. What else? So let's say I'm done, right? But if I click on my my data set, I don't have my total amount. And let's say I'm done with my data set. I want to actually have my raw data with this new information. I can then do pd dot to, I'll say dot to csv. Is it pd dot to csv? Save. I think I need to do my revision on Pandas pd.cs. No, I forgot it. That's interesting. I've used I've used my this thing to eat eba. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah. I
Yes,
can
sir.
hear, but I cannot see your screen.
Oh, it don't be for you. Sorry, eh? Who cannot see my screen again? Who else cannot see my screen? So I'm going to then say Abdullahi dot CSV. I don't know if it's going to override it. Oh, and that's because oh, sorry, it's not PD, it's just DF to CSV. Sorry. Is it going to override it? Let's see if it override the. Oh, I think it did. Yep, I now have my new data. I now have the data types and stuff. And if I go to my let me close this and open it again. My data set Abdullahi, and I open it in Notepad. Let me see if it's going to change the data types for me there. Oh, so you can see it has converted it to dot, and before it wasn't there. So basically, that is how you actually play with your data. So let's see. I do have PCM twice. I have Septrin twice. So let's say I want to know the total amount spent by based on the drugs. What I can then do is to say df dot group by I'll say group by let's see, I think it's by drugs. Then I'll say dot sum. What am I summing? I would say I'm going to sum my total underscore spent. I think is it going to give me an error? I don't have drugs. Yeah. Oh, apologies. So I think I was supposed to add the drugs as part of the. So I'm going to say drugs. I think, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, basically. So I can then do. It's not supposed to show. Oh, I misspelled Septrin. So let me correct it here. And Septrin. How did I misspell it? Okay, I say Spectrin. I'll say Septrin. I'm going to save it, and I'll run my kernel again. Yeah, so I then have this. So let's say I want to do like a drug count, for instance. I can just say dot. I think is values count. Then I don't want to. Yeah, I think it's value counts. Sorry, please. Oh, is it counts? Sorry. Oh, just count. And it's going to do a count of the number of drugs. So basically, this is how you actually do
We can't hear you. Basha Tuko is the only video I've been enjoying here all throughout this section. Is it Tuka?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, thank you. At what point did you stop hearing me?
About a minute, I think. A minute or two.
Okay, I told you guys that you guys should. Oh, so I think I can do this. Yeah. Yep. I can do a count by the drugs, and basically it's just going to show me this, but preferably you can just do a count and by something that you actually know would do a count for you. Okay, So it's supposed to actually group it by something. So let's just say total spent. If you know total spent is complete, and you see this thing is just weird. Like I can then do a reset. I think it's dot index underscore index. Yeah. So it's basically just going to give me something more appropriate, but you can leave it like that if you want to. You really don't want to be messing up with it, but if you want it to look nice, you can just do this. So this is basically how you would play with your data set. Now I'm going to add one of our data sets we actually used in our base data set. I think is this finance. Where is that data set? Yep. So this is a Microsoft Excel workbook, right? Where is it? This is a Microsoft Excel workbook, and this is a CSV file. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to take it to where were we? Yep. Yeah, I'll take it here and paste it here. And I want to access this particular data set. So I can just say retail as my new variable. I would say is equal to pd.read underscore CSV. And I will call the name of my CSV file, right? I'll say dot forward slash, I'll press tab, and I can then access my data. So, and then I'll just say retail, and you can then see my data sets basically. So it has 1,000 rows and 9 columns. So usually if you want to actually view data, we'll just say df.retail.head. It will just show us the first 5 data. If we want to know the shape, we'll just say df.shape, and it will just tell us retail, sorry. Retail.shape, it will tell us we have 1,000 rows and 9 columns. And if we want to check the data type, .dtype, it will tell us transaction ID is integer, which we can see here. Date is object, which is wrong. We have to change this data type. Customer ID is object, which is fine. Gender is object, which is fine. Age is integer. Product category is object, which is fine. Quantity is integer, which is fine. Price per unit is integer, which is wrong. Total amount is integer, which is wrong. So what it means is that we need to change the data type for date. We need to change the data type for price per unit to float and total amount to float. I believe I can give you guys this as an assignment to do. So for our other data set, which is where is it? Finance. It's an XLS file. So I would say finance is equal to pd.read. What would I use? So it has XLS, Excel. So I'll call the name of my path file, which is finance. Where is it? Finance. Then if I know the sheet name, I think I can say sheet name, and I'll call the name of my sheet. But I would have to go and open the data set to check so that you are very, very sure what sheet you're actually going to use. But by default, if I don't put the sheet name, it's just going to call, let's say I have 2 sheets, right? I have, let's just say sheet 2, and I have finance as the name of my sheet, and I save it. Sorry, excuse me. Now, if I just do this, I think it's going to give me the default sheet. I'm not sure, or an error. It's not going to give me that. That's interesting. So if I call finance, it automatically read my first sheet. But if I say sheet name and I now say sheet name, I now say sheet 2. And I load my data. It's not going to show me anything because in sheet 2, I don't have anything. So I think automatically it calls the first sheet, which is finance. And I'm just telling you guys, in case you guys have multiple sheets and you want to have access to that multiple sheet. So again, you can do df.head. It's going to show you the first 5. You can do finance.d types. If you press tab, it's going to show you the different this thing. So we have so all of these units sold is supposed to be integer, manufacturing price supposed to be float, sales price supposed to be float. All of this is correct, except you see our date time is giving us date time already here, which is fine. Our month number is integer, which is fine. Month name is object, is fine. Year is also integer. I would rather you change this to float because to object, because you are not using it for anything. So you have to change this to object. So I think there's something I'm missing. If I say finance dot, there's one other thing I want to show you guys. Finance dot, let me see if I would see it here. Who can remind me? There's some other thing that we actually do. I've forgotten. I think it's not dot describe. Describe is going to give you like a sorry, please. I'm trying to see what it is here. Oh, dot info. I think dot info carries this. Yep. Yeah. So dot info would give you. You can see dot info gives me more information about my data set. The column, how many values are not non-node. They are not node. It will do a count for me. So you can see that like our disband data column has about 647 non-data types. So if I want to check how many null value is in my disband data set, although this is going to give me a problem. So I'll say finance. I'll say disband. I'll say dot is null. I'll just say it's dot sum. It's going to tell me how many null values are there. And if you look at it, 700 minus 647 is what? 53. So you can do for segment and it will tell you 0. So I can say finance dot segment. I'll say dot is null. Then I'll now say, look at, if I do dot is null, it's just going to give me everything. Is it true or false? If it is a null value, then I can then do a sum of it and it will give me 0. So this is basically a way to actually check how many null values, if you ever have any. So the assignment I'm going to give you is that you should change the data type and just send screenshot, basically. And maybe you do, what assignment can I do, give you guys? I don't know. I'll do an extra tutorial on this particular, I'll do an extra tutorials and I'll give you guys an assignment, a proper assignment. So you can see our null data types here actually already. Let's say I want to change. You remember they told us to change this in Power BI to capital letter, right? Who can remember? Our segment want to change this to capital. So look at what happens if I say df.segment. No, finance.segment, sorry. Finance.segment. I'll say dot upper. Oh, is it dot upper? No. I think I should do this. It's saying is not, I think, let me see, capitalize. Does he have capitalized? It's supposed to show me upper. Is it upper? Let me see. There's no upper. That's serious. I think it's UK or so. But let me see what it has. Apologies. I'm trying to see access the let me see. So if I press my dot and I press space my tab, it's going to show me it will give me access to the methods that it has. Let me see. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't have oh, I can do lambda actually. Or I can apply, let me see. I think I can apply something. I'll say I dot upper, I think, for I in oh, sorry, please let me check. But let me not confuse us here. I can actually do that. Okay, let me try something. I can say for I in finance. Let me see. Dot segment, I think. Oh, sorry, please. So it will be print I. Print I is going to give me this. So if I say so basically if I say hold on, I dot upper, I think I can apply, it's going to make it upper. So I can convert, I can actually use the apply to convert this to upper. And I think I would say yeah. So basically I can then say if I'm correct, I'll say finance. Now that I know it works, segment, I'll do a least comprehension is equal to, oh, I can do a least comprehension, I think. So I can say I for I in I dot upper for I in finance, sorry. Finance, and I would say segment basically. And if I call finance as a data set, it will appear. So I can apply a least comprehension and I will just say is equal to this, and it's just going to convert this to capital letter, basically. I can also change United States. Whenever I see United States, I just want to change it to USA. Yeah, I think I can actually do that as well. What else? Yeah, basically I'll be giving you an assignment from here, and maybe in the next class. Should I wait to the next class and give an assignment, or which one is better? I want to make suggestions. Should I wait to the next class? We'll work on one data set and we'll give an assignment on another data set. Which one do you guys prefer?
Next class.
Sorry?
Next class will be better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
who is talking?
It's Joshua.
Okay, Joshua. Okay. Who else is in support of Mr. Joshua?
I am. Next week is better.
Okay, so next week, hopefully. Anyways, sorry, who's talking? Okay, Awal Kasim, you want to say something or you are just supporting the motion? Basha Tukur.
I'm just supporting the motion, sir.
Okay, Basha Tukur, you are supporting the motion or you want to say something?
Supporting the motion.
With the
Okay,
sugar
no
I've seen
problem.
today, please, next class,